There is one thing King Charles and Prince William actually agree on when it comes to Harry. And it might surprise you. Sources close to the family say they see him the same way now. Not as an enemy anymore. As a risk. A wild card they can't fully control. Stick around, because what happened next shows exactly what that means, and it's messier than anyone expected. To understand why this meeting even matters, you need to know where things stood before it. Harry and Charles hadn't been on speaking terms for a long stretch, and the two of them had only crossed paths a handful of times in years, mostly brief, tense, and heavily controlled. Harry had said publicly that he wanted things to be fixed, especially given his father's ongoing health treatment. But William's side of the family had drawn a hard line, and that line hadn't moved in a long time. So when word got out that Charles was finally sitting down with Harry's whole family, it wasn't just surprising. It broke a pattern that had held firm for years. In July, King Charles quietly met up with Harry, Meghan, and their two kids, Archie and Lilibet, at his home called Highgrove. This was a huge deal, even if it didn't look like one from the outside. It was the first time Charles had actually seen those two children in person since 2022. That's 4 years of missed birthdays, missed holidays, missed everything. No cameras showed up. No big palace announcement went out. Just a quiet afternoon behind closed doors, kept about as private as anything in that family ever gets. Palace insiders later confirmed the meeting did happen, but they wouldn't say what was talked about, or even how long everyone stayed. Here's the part people can't stop talking about. William and his wife Kate were nowhere near Highgrove that day. Instead, they were out at a polo match, smiling for photos, acting like it was just another normal weekend. Some royal watchers say that timing was not an accident at all. Reports suggest William stayed away on purpose, letting Charles handle Harry one-on-one, without it looking like the entire family had suddenly kissed and made up overnight. It kept William's hands clean too, so if the whole thing blew up in Charles's face later, William wouldn't have his name attached to any of it. Before we go further, if you're new here, you might want to hit that subscribe button, because most of you watching right now are not subscribed, and honestly, that's a little bit criminal. We've got way more royal drama coming your way, so tap that bell too, unless you're the type who enjoys missing things, which, no judgment, some people genuinely do. Now here's where the story starts getting messy. A glossy magazine reported that William and Kate had absolutely no clue Charles was meeting up with Harry's family. Zero warning, zero involvement, completely blindsided. But other reports paint a very different picture entirely. Some insiders claim William and Kate actually knew exactly what was happening the whole time, and simply chose to stay away from it on purpose. If that version is true, then the whole shocked and blindsided couple narrative was really just for show, a story designed to keep William looking untouched by any of it. Nobody outside the palace can confirm which version is the real one, and that's kind of the point. These stories rarely line up as neatly as the headlines want you to believe. Then there's Camilla, who's been dragged into this whole thing too. One report claims she was miles away when the reunion happened, and had to rush over at the last second once she found out what was going on. But other sources say that story doesn't hold up under any real scrutiny, and that Camilla was actually already at Highgrove well before Harry's family even arrived. If that's accurate, it means she wasn't caught off guard in the slightest. She may have known this meeting was happening from the very beginning, and was fully on board with it the entire time, quietly supporting Charles behind the scenes. What makes this whole situation even stranger is how little the palace actually gave up publicly. No official photos were released. No public statement calling it a reunion, or even acknowledging much beyond a vague confirmation. No big dramatic apology came from either side of the family. Charles didn't have to promise Harry anything in exchange for showing up, and Harry didn't get any kind of public forgiveness tour either. The whole thing was quiet, tightly controlled, and entirely on the king's terms from start to finish. Some royal experts believe that was completely intentional. By keeping things low-key, Charles gets to test the waters with Harry without accidentally handing him a massive PR win, and without putting any pressure on William to publicly approve of something he clearly wants no part of. There's talk that some palace staff were not thrilled about this meeting happening at all. Reports suggest a few aides worried that Harry might use the moment to claim publicly that Charles secretly agreed with him about how the media has treated the family, which would put Charles in an awkward spot. Some insiders even said aides spent time preparing for backlash before the meeting ever happened, trying to guess how Harry might describe it afterward. That kind of behind-the-scenes worry says a lot about how little trust still exists, even now that the two men are talking again. While all of this was unfolding, Meghan had her own headlines to deal with on top of it. She picked up an Emmy nomination this year, and while some fans were genuinely excited for her, plenty of critics online were rolling their eyes, saying awards like this one get handed out more for attention and buzz than actual quality. Whether that criticism is fair or not, it added even more noise to an already loud month for the Sussexes, landing right around the same time the Highgrove meeting was making headlines of its own. On top of that, Harry had just come off a rough week in court, losing a privacy case, which made the timing of this family reunion feel even more noticeable to people watching closely. So what does all of this actually mean for Harry going forward? Some royal commentators think this meeting gives Harry a small opening back into the family, at least on a personal level with his father. But it does not look like it changes a single thing between him and William. The brothers are still not speaking, and nothing about this quiet reunion suggests that's about to change anytime soon. William and Kate seem more than comfortable keeping their distance, and letting Charles handle his own relationship with Harry however he sees fit, without dragging them into it. There's also a theory floating around that this whole thing benefits Charles more than it benefits anyone else involved. Reports suggest that a united royal family with strong ties to America still holds real value, even if that unity is mostly just for appearances rather than anything genuine. If that's actually the real reason behind the meeting, then this was less about a grandfather missing his grandchildren, and more about protecting the bigger picture for the monarchy as a whole, at a time when public opinion really matters. Some sources close to the family have also pointed out that Charles is still undergoing treatment for his health, and that alone may have played a role in speeding this reunion along. When you're dealing with something like that, 4 years without seeing your grandchildren probably starts to feel a lot heavier than it used to. That personal angle doesn't cancel out the political one, but it does add another layer to why Charles may have pushed this meeting forward now, instead of waiting even longer for William to come around. Whether you believe this was a genuine moment between a grandfather and his grandchildren, or a carefully managed move to shape public opinion, one thing is pretty clear at this point. Nothing about this family seems to happen by accident anymore. Every meeting, every missing photo, every quiet afternoon at Highgrove seems to come with a purpose baked into it somewhere. So here's the real question worth sitting with after all of this. Was this actually the start of Harry finding his way back into the family for good, or is it just Charles making sure he still holds every single card, no matter what happens next between his sons? Either way, William and Kate are watching all of this from a distance, staying quiet, staying out of the photos, and letting the rest of the world wonder what they're really thinking behind closed doors.
Meghan's story could be told neatly. Hollywood girl meets prince. Love